Hey guys, it's Payne. I'm really excited to introduce a brand new show to Bet the Board that combines sports and alternative investing, the very first of its kind. Sports betting and collectibles converging is inevitable. Let me tell you why. Sports cards and memorabilia are another way to get money into the market and do it without limit restrictions or the substantial hold you're accustomed to with sports betting. Whether you collected cards as a kid and are looking to get back into the hobby, this podcast is for you. If you've been collecting cards for years, this podcast will make you think and operate more efficiently. Are you in real estate? The parallels to investing in sports cards and memorabilia are uncanny. You're on Wall Street. Well, listen close. The best sports cards have outperformed the S&P 500 by 6x since 2013. And during the 2008 market crash, sports cards held up better than the S&P 500. Bet the Board, in conjunction with PWCC, presents CardBoard Chat, an entertaining, sophisticated, and informative podcast that combines sports, analytics, betting, cards, and memorabilia. Without further ado, this is CardBoard Chat with Jesse Craig, a leading figure in the collectible space, and me, Payne. Are you on the mend? Feeling any better this week?
Definitely on the mend. I'd say I'm about 87.2%.
Beautiful. You managed to pull out your Jordan flu game last week. You didn't hawk any loogies. Our listeners didn't have to hear you hack and cough. You handled yourself well.
I appreciate it. I'm very good at hitting the mute button. That's about it.
So I think this is actually a topic that a lot of our listeners are going to enjoy. It's something I know that you absolutely love doing. Me, occasionally, if I got the itch. I just don't get it very often. But I thought this was interesting to discuss because this is the time of year where products are releasing. Mm-hmm. Guys are going to be ripping packs. They're buying boxes, cases, you name it. They're trying to relive their youth, treat the hobby as a form of entertainment. And I just got an email yesterday morning with a ton of product releases, and a lot of them are big brands. You got Bowman's Best Baseball dropping this week, Prizm football in roughly 10 days, Contenders football in less than 3 weeks. You got Prizm basketball in a month.
Sheesh.
I thought it'd be wise to discuss the best way to handle new product releases. I think right off the bat, obviously, you should kind of understand and accept the fact that 99.9% of collectors routinely ripping wax. This is going to be a minus EV proposition long term unless you're lucky enough to hit the needle in the haystack and cash out. But I think there's some ways to help limit the damage. Would you agree?
Yes, and that's why this industry is referred to as a hobby sometimes, because hobbies you do not get your money back out of, and this is definitely one of those paths to not getting or not having a good ROI. The question itself of how to handle new product releases is kind of a loaded question because there's a lot that goes into it. It depends on when the release happens. For Bowman baseball, good timing for that release. There's going to be a lot of hype and anticipation. Prizm football, well, the season's over, so odd timing on that, right?
Quarterback class a little wonky.
Exactly. So what's the price point at the release? What are the chase cards? Like you mentioned, how is the draft class within that product? Is this an existing brand like Prizm or a newer brand they're launching? Is there a dedicated following to it? If you're looking for something specific, what are the odds to finding those cards? So there's a lot that really goes into whether it's a good time to buy into a break, buy a product itself, or go secondary market. The typical rule of thumb is to wait for the hype to die down a little bit. That's generally the rule of thumb. Now, it is true that you could have a product like 2018 Prizm basketball where all of a sudden those cases are going for astronomical numbers because it's 5 years later and the Luka Black is still not pulled. Like that case is selling for $65,000 right now for a 12-box case, which is ridiculous based on the ROI that you would get for that product. It is a pure hype and chase card drive that's going on for that product right now. But so that's kind of the point of like, well, if you would have bought that and held till now, you would have done really, really well, even at release, right? The market was, products were coming out at cheaper numbers back in 18 as well. But even today, if you look at, let's say, Prizm football, I mean, what's the number one chase card in that product?
Of the new release? I don't know. Kenny
Yeah.
Pickett?
It's the one of one of who's the best prospect in that class. I mean, it's questionable, right?
I think
exactly.
The quarterback crop is not great.
Right.
You have a Steelers brand. You have Kenny Pickett.
So it's called Pickett.
I mean,
let's just say the Pickett Black is the chase card, and let's say he ends up on a Mahomes trajectory, just to play devil's advocate, right? Okay, I know. Let's just call it that. And in 2 years, his Black 101 hasn't been pulled. Well, that's going to drive up the value of that wax product as a whole because people will be chasing that. Now, once that card gets pulled, the value should plummet because the majority of the other hits likely will have come out by now. And that's what we're going to see with this Luka product. It's going to drop in value drastically once that one of one is pulled because you cannot go through. I watched Lil Pullman, shout out to Chase. I watched him rip a case. Actually, I think it might have even been 2 cases the other night live on Instagram. And like they got some really, really good hits. They hit like an orange shy. They hit a bunch of really good cards, and the ROI is not there, right? So unless you hit that Black 101, it's that Willy Wonka ticket. That's what they're searching for. So timing really matters from a hold and a buy perspective. If there's a ton of hype around a product launch in a draft class, prices will probably be astronomical out the gate. Right now, this Prizm class, this actually might not be a bad time to buy it out the gate because there's not a lot of hype around the class. I mean, I couldn't even think of a quarterback offhand when thinking about that draft class. And
not a big Desmond Ridder guy, huh?
Exactly. But if any of these guys end up being anything decent and their big cards are still missing from being pulled, well, it can help drive up the value of that product. So that's kind of a rule of thumb is like I would really wait for the hype to die down. If you, depending on how much entertainment you want, I'll use the word entertainment in quotes, you can buy the box and rip it yourself where the entry point is obviously much higher, or you can go online and buy into a break where you might get nothing for your money, but the entry point is much, much lower. So it really depends on a personal situation in that regard. And then,
if you're a player or team collector, that's pretty a good option as well, right? If you're just hunting for
really
a specific team or a player, yeah.
Yeah, especially if it's not a team that has a really popular player on it. What's also interesting is going into, this Prizm product. I wonder if there's going to be, I'm assuming there's going to be Brady in Tampa Bay, right? So like Tampa Bay might not be a bad one to buy in for the break. You're not going to get the rookie hype, but you get some rare Tom Brady cards out of the break that could be some of the better pulls in the product if with a bad quarterback class. Waiting for the secondary market for singles to hit and to buy, you don't want to buy right out the gate either. That's another thing. Like I remember it was, what was the product? It was like Optic basketball. It was LaMelo Ball's rookie class. I remember when those base cards were coming out, raw they were selling for like $85 to $90, and now they're worth like $8. So you want to be careful buying singles right when they come out the gate. Same with graded products. If you're gonna get a new release and you see it's a Pop 1 PSA 10 or a Pop 1 BGS 9.5 or SGC 10 or CSG 10, whatever it may be, well, you want to be careful. Like, what is the actual supply of that product, right? Is this just a moment in time where the population is going to drastically increase over time, and someone just happened to beat you to the market or beat everybody to the market, and now they're able to get a premium on it because of it? So like I said, it's a loaded question. There's a lot that goes into it. Just make sure you do your research and don't overspend early.
It's really interesting because there isn't that's the general answer. There is this little balancing act, though, I think, if you're extremely bullish on a player and it's an SSP or a low-numbered card, right? It's a red to 5. It's a finite 1 of 1. If you believe in that player, you do sometimes kind of have to bite that bullet because you might not see it again. There is a little bit of a balancing act there, yeah?
Sure, yeah. It depends on if you're into this for the hobby nature or the ROI, right? Like if it's the hobby nature and you got a player you collect and it's a short print or a low numbered card, yeah, you might just pay up for it and get it, and then you're happy. If you're going from an ROI perspective, well, there's more entertainment / gambling, right? Because you're literally banking on that player doing well because you're into it from an ROI perspective. So either way you slice it, it's an ROI risk, but it's just a matter of if you care or not.
As we kind of put a bow tie on this, because there isn't anything that's, set in stone other than you're probably going to lose money if you're ripping wax. I think, trying to limit that downside is really important. So, group breaks, player breaks, team-specific stuff, waiting till the product cools off, unless it's in the off-season where, hey, maybe you have an idea or a thought that Kenny Pickett can be that guy, and you're going to be bullish, and you might wait a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but you're starting to still position yourself in the offseason before you get that July, August national hype. You want to focus on the brand, right? Prizm, Contenders, National Treasures, Flawless. Those are the brands people want. Those are the brands that hold the most value long-term. I speak to a lot of guys that do this full-time, 24/7, 365, and the feedback they get when they go to shows, it's that these specific brands sell the best. The demand is greater, and I think you hit that perfectly. Like, there's a lot of releases right now. We've talked about all the products that are being sent into the market, Optic, Prizm, Finite, Chrome. Like, there's just too much going on. And I think if you're trying to rip all of that stuff, like, you're going to get absolutely crushed. Focus on the biggest brands, the biggest products, and enter at the right time, and hopefully you can limit your downside.
I totally agree, and I do believe that, fanatics coming into the space, they're very aware of the standard ROI that people have gotten in the past on products, and they're doing a lot of different things to try to increase that ROI for buyers. So I do believe it's going to get better in the future. I think the fact that price points have come down is really healthy, but all the additional things that they're going to be doing as well should drive more value and more ROI for people, whether you want to buy a box or buy into a break.
It sounds like it's time for a new brand to enter this hobby. Fanatics is certainly one. If they can help figure out how to increase ROI on something that we love to do. I mean, I generally like to rip packs. It's just against my religion to just enter something that's that minus EV. Like, I'm happy to rip a box or two when I go to a local card store and try to support that store. Happy to do it if I'm hanging with you, and it's like this one-off thing, but otherwise it's just there's so much diminishing return there that it's just I can't get myself to do it. So hopefully Fanatics entering the market and changing the space here over the next couple of years is a welcome presence for the hobby.
Amen to that.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. It's time, folks. That's right. We're going to discuss undervalued and overvalued cards, or maybe even some memorabilia assets, potentially some players. Is it time to buy, sell, or hold on to these assets or players? We'll give you some opinions and back it up.
Two cards this week that we're going to talk about that we both believe are undervalued. Sometimes we look at the overvalued assets in the market, but we're double dipping this week again on some undervalued assets. Mm-hmm. The first one, I'm going to let you have the floor here. Talk to us a little bit about the player card that you think is maybe a buy right now because it's undervalued.
Yeah, it's a 2013 Prizm Silver Giannis rookie in a PSA 10. You look at what Giannis has done so far in his career, and this is, it's 2013, so he's in about his 10th year. But the Bucks have the best record in the NBA. They've played absolutely incredible. I mean, a historic win streak that they went on. This card itself, now the first Prizm product was released in 2012, and the print runs have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger over time, and that's going to reflect part of my argument here. His PSA 10 rookie Silver Prizm, which is an absolute staple for the Prizm product, is only a pop 77, which is kind of crazy to think about. This card shot above 40K kind of during the peak. It's settled back down pretty consistently around 15K this year. Like I mentioned, they have one of the best records in the NBA. they've got a legit shot to make it out of the East. I mean, it's going to be them, Boston, and probably Philly. Those are the three, but I really like the Bucks' chance.
Sleeping on my Knicks. Sleeping on my Knicks.
Come on, man. Really?
Without Brunson, went into Boston last night and handled business.
Yeah, every blind squirrel can find a nut from time to time. Getting a second championship for Giannis can really help cement his legacy, I believe. I mentioned it's only a pop 77. Well, for comparison, Luka's is a pop 2,180. And look, I mentioned earlier the supply variances and the differences. It's gotten much greater, but still, from a pricing perspective versus supply, it's literally about 30x the supply for a Luka Prizm PSA 10 than Giannis, and the value difference is only about 8x because Luka Prizms go for about 2 Gs. So it's a really interesting value comparison to supply to look at Luka versus Giannis, and Luka hasn't done anything. Just remember, he's done nothing.
I'm surprised to see Giannis as your undervalued choice this week. I was actually hoping to make a few plays this offseason quietly. So much so, I chose not to full-blown debate you last week and tip my hand when you said Giannis market wouldn't increase with a second title, because I wholeheartedly disagreed with that sentiment. Now, I'm not sure they can win this year, and it would create a lower entry point in the offseason without a second ring. But I think you really hit this perfectly in that Giannis is just, he's gone to another level, right? He's doing it statistically. Yep. He's doing it, metrically on the court. But I think it just matters more with what he's doing. Like, God forbid he wins a second title in Milwaukee with a supporting cast like Pat Connaughton and Grayson Allen and Brooke Lopez. Like, the second highest paid player in the team comes off the bench in Chris Middleton. Like, this isn't a bunch of free agents creating a super team. Most of the contributors were moved on from by their prior team. And really, I think if Giannis ends up with a second ring, you start to think about him being in the Steph Curry conversation. I know Warriors fans will say, like, Steph has 4 titles. True, but that was very much a super team. I know it's viewed differently because it was organic, right? Steph, Clay, and Draymond were all homegrown. They were drafted. They weren't free agents. But 2 of the 4 rings come with Durant.
Came with Durant, yeah.
He was clearly the best player on the team, won Finals MVP both years. There's not a question that Giannis is the best player on his team. I think it has to be viewed differently, if the Greek Freak brings a second title to Milwaukee, of all places.
Could you imagine if Durant played with Giannis?
Forget about it, yeah.
I mean,
that's the spacing he would need.
Exactly. So this is where the argument, getting 2 titles in a place like Milwaukee with the cast he has. Don't forget Drew Holiday, too. He is fantastic. A stud.
Yeah,
he is
undervalued.
A stud. Great, very undervalued. We just double dipped. There's another undervalued right there.
Certainly on the basketball court. I don't know about the card market.
Yeah, no, his cards are not the hottest. but Giannis doing it for a second time in Milwaukee. I know I said it won't increase the value of his cards. I don't think short term. I guess it really depends on what happens in the playoffs. Like if Boston doesn't look great, I mean, they just lost to the Knicks, for crying out loud, right? So
without Jalen Brunson,
right? So if Boston doesn't look, because I know everyone says Jaylen Brown and Tatum are the best duo in the NBA. I kind of don't agree with that. I mean, they're up there, but I don't know if I'd agree with that. I think that a healthy Clay and Steph are more dangerous than those two. By the way, Clay's been playing unbelievable, and Steph coming back. Watch out for a title run from the Warriors. I just want to call that out.
Kuminga coming off the bench the last week or so, looking decent.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that's my play of the week. 2013 Silver Prizm, Giannis PSA 10.
I'm going to piggyback off your pick last week, where I wholeheartedly agreed. There is a long-term value play here in Tom Brady, and I think you liken it to the savviest investors in any market who just love picking up blue chip assets on the dip, especially when there hasn't been, material change in the brand, right? That outside factors are contributing to the downtrend and not the actual company brand or player in this instant. Yeah, be careful. Be careful. He's a shooter. Now, I'm going to dive a little deeper here and give a specific Tom Brady card that I like. And I think, you wake up 10, 15, 20 years from now, it'll be substantially more than it is today. And that's the 2000 Leaf certified mirror gold rookie, serial numbered to 30 copies. And I think you and I have talked a little bit about this, maybe even at the last National, because Grant had a copy in his case, but just beautiful. So check mark there. Gold refractors are highly sought after, although a little bit on the decline, right? That wave came and we're tumbling down just a little bit on the gold refractors, but there's only 30 copies ever produced, serial numbered. There wasn't a Topps Chrome Gold Tom Brady card until the X-Fractor in 2003. There wasn't a Bowman Chrome Gold Tom Brady until 2002. This is the only Tom Brady Chrome Gold refractor in his rookie year. So I absolutely love this play here. Not just Tom Brady in general, but this specific card.
Is this one out of 30 or 35?
This one's out of 30.
30. Okay, got it. I'm
nearly certain you guys sold one fairly recently.
I think it's out of 35. I think it's like a weird off number. That's why I'm actually questioning on air here. This is like, what was the old show on ESPN where they used to go through at the very end and they
do all the mess ups?
Yeah, all the mess ups.
No way I messed this up.
We might need to get was it Tony that did that? Tony Reale, who's now the host of the show. He was originally the stat guy, wasn't he?
I think the show
Tony
that
Reale,
Tony Reale
right?
is on now he created that show.
But there was another show. Oh, it might have been with Wilbon and Kornheiser, where he did it on.
Jesus Christ, you're right.
Is it 35? Look at that.
It is 35.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. So there's only 5 more copies. Do you want to change your argument? No, I'm kidding.
No, absolutely not.
It is. We did sell one recently, and that's why, I was thinking about it, and I was like, wait, that is 35.
It's absolutely 35.
We sold a BGS 9 in September.
You know what I'm thinking about, don't you?
What?
Do you know what I'm thinking about or no?
No, I don't. What?
The card that you haven't been able to get me. That's a mirror gold.
Oh God, here we go.
That one's
sorry.
to 30.
I'm sorry. We know who owns a couple of those that we need to go
It's okay. It's okay. That's what's entrenched in my brain. No matter
matter
what'll ever happen until I get one. It's
your
your fault.
I get it. I get it. Hey, blame me. Blame me.
There you go.
I get it.
Yep.
So there is some confusion with numbering right there because that one's out of 30. This one's out of 35. We did sell one in September premiere for about $120K. Your thought process around 10, 20 years from now, there are not very many Brady rookies in general that are serial numbered to 50 or less. And gold it's always going to be an important color in the rainbow or, whatever, in the retrospect to color variations within the industry, whether it's 10 out of 10, out of 50, out of 35, out of 30, gold is gold, and that always carries a premium. You can have a gold out of 10 that goes for more than a black gold out of 5. I know we've talked about that before because people want gold. And this is a really cool, it's not a Michigan uniform, which makes it more valuable. It's more of a practice jersey that he's got on. So it's not quite like an in-game Patriots uniform.
Pajama pants Brady rookie.
Yeah,
those are standard.
Pajama Brady, baby. That's right.
Yeah. Those are standard across 2000.
This is a critically important Tom Brady rookie card, and I don't think you can go wrong. Even in a Michigan uniform, to be frank, any serial numbered Brady rookie, 50 or less over time, should do fantastic. And so I really like this one as being undervalued. Even though we did sell a BGS 9 for $120K, there's only 35 of these that exist on the planet, and you don't see them come up to auction very often.
No, and I'm nearly certain I know your buyer there on that card, and pretty savvy when it comes to picking out some winners. But yes, good call, Tony Reale Jr. This one is to 35. Now all of a sudden I don't really want to go on with the show because I have the card, the mirror gold to 30 in my brain, and it's really frazzling me a little bit that you haven't been able to get that for me. Okay, you ready?
Let's go.
Pick a number, any number, whatever it may be. We got a number inside, but we want a magic number. All right, this is where we're going to pick a few big cards that enter in an auction over the next couple of days, and we're going to try and guess how much they sell for in advance. Throw out a number. We got one too.
Done. This is the one. This is the time. The segment that everybody loves. Magic number. How are you feeling? We've crossed the halfway point. You're picking up some steam.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting some W's in the win column. Are you feeling confident?
Feels good. It feels good.
You're fighting your way back.
Yeah, I had to kind of give you a little bit of a cushion and a buffer, I think, early on. And I've stopped playing nice. I'm coming for the jugular.
Okay. And the first card is a card that I love very much. It's 2001 SP Authentic Chirography Update Silver. Ichiro Suzuki Rookie Auto to 100 copies in PSA 10 Gem Mint. Talk to us a little bit about this one. Give us your best guess, and I'll come in after.
I knew you would love this card, and I didn't want you to think I was sandbagging, picking stuff that you didn't know how to price and all. I didn't want to hear that excuse from you when I end up winning this thing. So I figured I'd include some cards.
Before we get too far and this goes off the rails,
sure.
You admitted to having a team behind the scenes last week helping you. And you also have to think about the calendar. While I was building this lead, I was also entrenched in football 14, 16 hours a day. Now it's the off season. How are you feeling about the prospects of catching up now that I have a little bit more time allocated to this?
I still like
You're
my
rethinking
chances.
things?
I still like my chances, yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Trading cards and memorabilia have seen incredible growth as an alternative investment. The company leading the growth? PWCC Marketplace. PWCC Marketplace runs the largest weekly auction of authenticated sports cards, Pokemon cards, comic books, video games, and memorabilia in the world. PWCC Marketplace also has more than 65,000 items listed in their fixed price marketplace that you can make an offer on right now. Head over to pwccmarketplace.com and see why they're the best option for buying and selling trading cards, memorabilia, and all of your collectibles.
We have a beautiful Ichiro, and we actually sold the out of 25 version of this card for $15K in November premiere. It's a really, really pretty card. It is an on-card auto. I've always loved Ichiro's auto. This one's serial numbered 18 of 100 in a PSA 10. It's a pop 1 of 4, currently sitting just over 3,000. I do believe, because this is the more staple card from that product run, the out of 100, that the supply versus value is going to be a little bit greater than the out of 25. It's a little bit more, I know it's more rare, but it's a little bit more niche, and I think more people chase the out of 100. So being only a pop 4, on-card auto, PSA 10, I've got this at $73.87.
Interesting. Well, there was a price update, because when I looked earlier today, we're at $2,100, so there's been another bid put in there. Absolutely love this card. PSA's assessed just 4 of these silver copies worthy of Gem Mint status. Only 7 silver have been graded. Now, I think there's something to remember here as a little bit of an education with this card. 2001 SP Authentic is a 240 card set, but it was issued in 2 separate releases. The first 180 were released as the SP Authentic set. Then this additional 60 card update set was part of Upper Deck rookie update packs. And so this is in the latter release if you're kind of hunting for some boxes. You mentioned the variants, right? There's 3 of these update variant autographs. You have the base serial number to 250, the silver that we're talking about here out of 100, and then the gold you mentioned out of 25. I am a gold guy, but I hear your sentiment that this one might be a little bit more sought after because it's available. This exact copy actually sold in December for $9,900. Ichiro's market is down about 10% over the last 3 months. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm going to come in a little bit higher than you on another modern card here. I think we're going to see a little bit of an uptick. you sometimes see with the 2001 products that Ichiro has some bubbling in his autograph. It's very minimal on this one, which I think creates a touch more value. I'm going to come in here at 8,100 on the Ichiro.
Okay.
Next one. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
I'll go first. But we're looking at a vintage basketball card, 1961 Fleer basketball, Oscar Robertson rookie. Now, this is assessed a PSA 7 near mint, but this particular copy comes with PWCC Superior Eye Appeal designation, putting this copy in the top 5% of all PSA 7s. It is beautiful. Like,
it's stunning.
It is absolutely unreal. And if you are familiar with this set, you're going to be like, "Woo, this is pretty crazy." And if you go back to episode 4, I had to look this up of CardBoard Chat. This card you mentioned is being undervalued, and I totally agree. Now, the market has dipped fractionally since then, and I know we still don't agree with that. There's only 127 copies graded at PSA with a better numerical grade, substantially less in quality when you think about this Superior Eye Appeal. It's rare you have centering, registration, and color, and this specific Oscar has it. This is one of the most iconic basketball sets of all time. I'm actually going to make a pretty bold claim here. I did some digging with some past sales. If you remove all of the buy it nows from the data and look strictly at auctions for a PSA 7 Oscar Robertson Fleer rookie, I think this copy sells for one of the 5 highest auction prices ever. I'm going to come in pretty high here. I'm going to go 9,600 on the button.
Not a bad number. Here's the crazy thing about this card is you can look at it, and I don't know if someone, like, if their wife divorced them that morning or what when they were grading this card, but it is, I mean, I would take this card over a handful of 8s I've seen.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe even 8.5s. It is slightly off center left to right. The print on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 10. I mean, it is a phenomenal example in a PSA 7, and you can get 8s for, I believe, around the 10K mark, 8 to 10K mark. And I think you're right on the nose from a value perspective. It's going to be interesting to see what it really finishes at. It's already sitting with the BP at about 5,000. So you're saying that it's going to just under double from where it's at now. And a normal 7 you can buy for $3,200.
Oh, so there's one that just sold for $2,600.
Yeah, exactly.
2 days ago. Yeah.
So when you look at the quality of this example, this is where it's like, hey, buy the card, not the grade. This is the poster child of that example. I'm gonna come in at $10,200.
Whoa. Okay.
I think that there's gonna be a battle out there. And
I think you're probably right.
They're going to really, like, this thing's going to sell for a monster number.
Yeah. I could see it, especially the way vintage is trending at your shop. And then you have the no restrictions on extended bidding. I thought I was going to be high on this one. I didn't think there was any way in heck that you would come in above me on a vintage card, but here we have it, and I'm not feeling great about it because
is any way in heck even a saying? You can say hell on the podcast.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I saw the last comp at 2,600 a few days ago, and it's like, are people mentally going to get there? But to your point, like, this is a card that you buy, you stuff in your PWCC vault, you can look at it anytime you want if you have internet connection or the app, and it's just like, yeah, it says 7 on the card label, but it feels like I have a PSA 9. It looks that damn good. It is that good. The truth is, my real number was closer to yours, but I went a little bit higher just to create a little separation. Yeah, but I do think that your assessment was it 9,300 roughly that you had? I had 9,600, yeah. 9,600. Yeah, that's right about that. I think that's like a really good over-under, to be completely honest with you. It wouldn't surprise me if it went for 9. It wouldn't surprise me if it went for 10 too. But it started hot, so you might be right. Yeah, exactly, right? So we'll see if we just need 2 guys to really want it, and I think we're going to find that because I've mentioned it before, but this is my favorite set in trading cards across the board because of all the iconic rookies that are in here. You know, you had a big gap between 57 and 61, so no basketball cards were produced for almost 4 years.
So you got Chamberlain rookie, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Baylor. Like, it's just a phenomenal set. And you have 2 cards of each because you have the inactions as well as this portrait variation. So I know there's a lot of people that collect this set and they collect quality. I think there's going to be a battle on our hands. That's why I went over 10K.
Yeah, I think I might be losing this one. As I think back, we had a similar debate with a what the heck was it? It was an SGC 7. No, it was a football card there.
Oh, Unitas maybe?
No.
Great.
Brown. The Brown rookie.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And that thing just went for a number that we hadn't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very much of this ilk in terms of the centering, the registration. It was an SGC 7. I believe it went for like 11K.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I weren't overly close to that relative to like projecting a vintage card, but it was well above what we both thought, and it was really interesting to see unfold because you guys have those buyers.
Yep.
All right, the next one is vastly different. Welcome to 2021. A little soccer here.
Yeah.
We're going to go Panini Mosaic, FIFA Road to the World Cup, Black Prizm, Lionel Messi here. I know all the Messi fans are loving life. Wins the World Cup in 2022. Ronaldo hasn't really been on solid footing, both internationally or with club soccer. So you have arguably the GOAT here in Messi. Talk to us a little bit about this card, Jesse.
Yeah, I picked this one. First of all, it's a really cool and really aesthetically pleasing card, but it's going to be tough for us to price, right? So it's a little bit of these 101s, a little bit of a guessing game, and there's not a lot of Messi 101s on the market, and I think that's what makes this really interesting. There's soccer production isn't massive. Numbering cards in soccer wasn't really much of a thing until like 2014. So these cards in themselves are rare outside of the fact they're a 101. Just finding one of Messi in a 101 is hard to find. So solid grade 2 for a 101 in a PSA 9. I really do. This card's sitting at about $6,000 right now as we make this, and I do believe that it's, some guys are going to duke it out. How crazy it goes is kind of TBD, but I've got this card sitting, ending at $11,335, so $11,335.
Whew. I think what's interesting about this is, it's the Road to the World Cup product, and it's 2021, 2022. So it's going to forever be linked to Argentina and Messi winning the World Cup for that specific product year. And I think that creates just a touch of a premium. Messi's in the, classic Argentina kit, which pops, with the all black design. Most soccer cards have come tumbling down post-World Cup, in general. Even with soccer being the largest sport in the world, the index suggests that, like, over the last year, even soccer cards across the board are down like 45%.
Right.
And I know the World Cup was 3 months ago, but the Messi data has actually been strong while everyone else has trickled downward, right? Messi's market's up about 15% the last 3 months. There was a 2022 Prizm World Cup Qatar Black 1/1 Messi, also a PSA 9. Sold a month ago for $160,000. Mosaic isn't nearly the brand as Prizm.
Sure.
But I think you're going to be surprised here. I'm a little shocked the seller of this card didn't enter it into your premier auction, which is currently going on at PWCC. That ends March 16th. I'm going to be higher than you on another modern card. And I don't know what's going on. The world may, in fact, be coming to an end here. I'm going to go 12,000 flat on this one.
Look, that's the right play. I think that there's more of a chance it goes above my number than under my number. But you're right. All it takes is 2 guys. And if you are a Messi collector, like I said, there's not a lot of these 101s out there. So here's an opportunity. If you don't pick this one
it's
up.
It's the Durant inverse. There isn't 89
Correct.
black
It's true.
101s.
It's true. It's true. So we'll see. But I think, I'm not feeling super confident after going through this week now with you. I don't know. I was talking all sorts of shit when the program opened. Now after all these numbers shook out, I'm like, ooh.
You know what's bizarre here is I was looking at the last few weeks. So week 13, I actually redeemed myself and went 3-0. Week 14, you went 2-1. Last week, I went 2-1. I continue to lose the vintage cards.
Mm-hmm.
You're winning the vintage, and oddly, I've been winning the other stuff. So I don't know what's going on here. It's really been the opposite of what we're accustomed to.
I guess we shall see.
Damn, that's a ghost. We're going to highlight a card that hasn't sold in more than a year right now, or is serial numbered to less than 100 copies produced. We're going to talk about why this card is significant, maybe in terms of hobbies or language or just the overall rarity of it all, and why it's considered a ghost.
Something that we don't typically see, and that's why we call it a ghost. 2018 National Treasures Shai Gilgeous-Alexander rookie Logo Man patch. 1 of 1. Easily Shai's best card, right?
Yeah, this is the staple go-to card for Shai.
I
Is
think
it
what's interesting.
Shai or Shai? Shai or Shai? I can never pronounce his name right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. I just call him Shai.
Okay. Perfect.
What do you call him?
I think I call him both.
Oh yeah, just whatever the moment is, whatever
Right.
the vibe is. Obviously, beautiful card aesthetically here. I think a couple months back we discussed Luka's Logo Man rookie auto, right? That went for a tick over $3 million at PWCC. This is obviously not going to come close to that, but we're pushing towards 200K with BP already. The auction again doesn't end until March 16th. I think what's interesting about this one, and feel free to discuss as well. The guy's a beast. Like, it's not just some young prospect that we believe has the potential to be good, right? Like, at 24, he's good. The production's there. First-time All-Star a few weeks back. If you look at some of the advanced metrics, like fantastic there. If you just look at counting stats, right, he's averaging 31, 6, and 5. But just, I think what's interesting here is sometimes in basketball when you play for a piss-poor team, you can put up some numbers. Yeah. I just think he's doing it differently. Top 10 in player efficiency rating, top 10 in ESPN's somewhat new player efficiency rating, top 10 in offensive box score plus minus. So all of the underlying metrics are fantastic. It's just not a box score stat stuffer here in Shai. And I think the hope for anybody purchasing this card is that somehow he gets out of purgatory, right? Like Oklahoma City isn't doing anything for his brand.
No.
Shai was part of that trade that sent Paul George to the Clippers. I think the conversation's wildly different, and it's almost certain had Shai performed this well in Los Angeles, right, the Logo Man we're discussing probably sells for 2x.
Totally agree. He's just not given the love that he deserves based on statistical performance. And I think it's no different than the situation that a guy like Trae Young is in. Especially for Trae's size, the numbers he's been putting up, he gets no love on a mediocre, poor, less than mediocre Atlanta team. But this Shai card is his best card. No questions about it. Hands down. On card auto, Logo Man, 1 of 1. It's in an SGC 9 holder. The auto got a 10. I mean, it's a beautiful card. I actually really like the design this year too. I think it looks great. His rookie year is the exact same year as Luka. So if you look at a comparison, Luka selling for over $3 million, who knows what this goes for? But if you can get it for 1/10 the cost of Luka, is that a good investment? I mean, if you believe in Shai and you believe in him getting out of OKC, because we all know he's not going to do anything there.
Luka hasn't won anything either, right?
But Luka hasn't done it. That's kind of my point at the top of the pod when we were talking about Giannis. It's Luka hasn't done anything. I know there's a love and affinity for Luka. He's got the international appeal. He's a big stat stuffer. I don't understand the disparity with this Shai, and we'll see what it closes at. I mean, if it goes for $500,000 or more, then I'll be like, okay, well that makes a little more sense. If it sells for, not much more than it's sitting at now, I think there's a big argument to be made that he's just not getting the respect that he deserves. But thought this was the perfect card for the week for Damn That's a Ghost, and it's just a card that chances are, once it gets acquired, it's going to go into a fund or someone's collection, and you won't see it.
So we doing this or we doing that? You tell me and we'll tell you. We're going to compare two cards right now with similar value that are completely different. Let me give you an example. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you have a vintage Mickey Mantle baseball card worth $30,000. But you also have a modern day Joe Burrow rookie card worth 30 grand. Which one would you rather have and why? You tell us, we're going to tell you right now.
I like what you went with here this week. I feel like you're handicapping the handicapper, as we call it. I'm looking at the two cards in this or that, and the first is a 2001 Bowman Chrome Japanese refractor Ichiro rookie that has an aftermarket auto on it. PSA is graded 12 of these, no 10s. And the other card that we're going to compare it to, potentially, is the 2008 Topps Chrome Refractor Kobe Bryant with LeBron James in a PSA 10 gem mint. I will let you have the floor, sir. Discuss both cards, tell us why they're intriguing, and ultimately make your pick.
So both cards sold for $3K about a week ago. And on the surface, a 2001 Bowman Chrome Refractor Ichiro Auto aftermarket versus this 2008 Topps Chrome Kobe PSA 10, you would pick the Ichiro pretty much all day and twice on Sunday, I would imagine. I thought the Japanese might throw you off a little bit, so that's why I selected it to see if this was interesting or not. But I really like the Ichiro card. I think it's just a really cool aftermarket. It says 01 Rookie of the Year and MVP as an inscription on there. The auto is unbelievably bold and blue. I mean, it fits the card really well. I mean, it looks really pretty. It's the same color of blue that you'll get on some of those really good Ichiro rookie autos. Or I'm sorry, Pujols rookie autos. But beautiful card, beautiful autograph on there. And like I said, I love a good inscription. With the Kobe, the 08 Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 10 Kobe Bryant has a picture with LeBron James. It's a very iconic picture in the trading card space. The gold variation of this card sells for a lot out of 50. But, LeBron is defending Kobe, and it's just a really cool, iconic image in our market. It is a much higher population. It's a pop 114. But the design of this card horizontally, I think it's just a really cool card design from 08. So I love that card. Considering they're the exact same price, they just sold recently. I'm a Kobe guy, and because it's such an iconic image with LeBron, I got to go with the Kobe and LeBron.
Obviously, 2001 Bowman Chrome Baseball is a fantastic set. Pujols is in it as well. You have Ichiro, just two surefire Hall of Famers. Pujols actually had a manufacturer on-card rookie auto in the set. It was hand-numbered to 500, and it was a redemption. Ichiro never actually had a manufacturer on-card auto in this set, but with Ichiro signing now, right, collectors have kind of taken some of the base cards, the refractors, and had them personally signed to enhance the value. The specific one we're talking about is the refractor, and you pointed it out perfectly, has the Japanese writing on the back. It's a little bit more rare than the traditional refractor that has American language on the back, right? All told, with an aftermarket autograph on the card, right, PSA Beckett have graded less than 600 of these. So supply isn't overly large here. Less than 5% of those have an aftermarket autograph between the two companies. Even fewer, to your point, have the ridiculously cool inscription like the one we're discussing, where it's inscribed 2001 Rookie of the Year and MVP. My belief is Ichiro's wildly undervalued. You can't go wrong with this card. However, 2008, 2009 Topps Chrome Basketball was the final standalone set for Topps Chrome before Panini took control and they got the NBA license. So we like historic products, the first of something, the potential final iteration here. The photography was fantastic for this set. The parallels were beautiful and not overly abundant with a million different ones like Panini products. The rookie class was decent with Westbrook, D. Rose, and your boy Kevin Love.
Yep.
But what makes this special is LeBron and Kobe going one-on-one in the same card, right? Kobe's backing down LeBron in the post. It's just, iconic for that reason. And for a Topps Chrome product, it wasn't overly produced if you look at the population reports. Very cool card. I actually had the chance to look at the red out of 5.
Oh,
Clay
yeah.
actually graded that card at the 2001 National. Came
Wow.
back a PSA 9.
What was he, 12?
Clay's a little bit older than you, or older than you think. What did I say? Did I say 2021 National? That's
you
what I
said
meant.
2001.
Oh, Jesus, criminy. 2021 National. So this was Chicago, right? Last year was AC.
Yeah.
Chicago. Okay.
I figured that
saw
was
it
the
in
case.
hand. It was fantastic. Shocked it came back a 9. But I think what's interesting here, and you talked about in our debate last week, there is a precedent. In March of 2021, which was the peak of the recent sports card boom, and this isn't meant to detract people from entering. Sometimes prices get a little bit nutty. Sometimes there's not enough of like the blue chip cards. We start to go out of the range a little bit and contrive ideas about why things should be priced the way they should be, and sometimes just the market doesn't agree. This card at one point was selling for over 20K.
Mm-hmm.
The Ichiro has never sniffed that number
Sure.
before. So I think they're now selling in the same realm as you alluded to, but we have the precedent for this Kobe LeBron card that it has the potential to reach a number that Ichiro just hasn't. And so I'm actually going to side with you.
Ooh.
I kind of think, and I know it's not like the preferred color, there's some orange variants to 449, is it? That don't sell for a ton more than the refractor here, but there's just not as much population there. I think that's interesting. But I'm shockingly going to agree with you here and side with the Kobe, which is against every fiber I have in my body right now.
I'm honestly surprised. I thought, even with the Japanese writing on the Ichiro, I thought the inscription, which you don't see very often from him, would put you over the edge and force you to select Ichiro. But
yeah.
but
you were playing the man, not the cards.
I guess so. And Kobe prevails.
All right, before we get out of Dodge, talk to us about anything new and exciting going on in your life or at PWCC.
In my life. Good Lord, that's a long story. Lots going on in the life. Yeah,
I got some emails from people that felt bad for you and your son that you didn't take him to the game where Dame scored 71. And
yeah, he could care less. It would probably, at that point, it would have been him wanting to go home and me wanting to stay, likely, for a historic night like there was, which was funny. The game we actually went to on Wednesday, it was end of third quarter. Okay, Marbud, I want you to realize, when there's a few minutes left in the game, we're probably going to jet out of here to make sure we beat traffic and we can get home. He's like, why don't we just go now? And I'm like, all right. It was like entertainment overload for him for a few quarters. And, he's 6, so the attention span doesn't last that long. And it was already 9 o'clock at night, and we normally have those guys in bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock. And so it was time for him to get out of there, which that's what I'm saying. If we would have gone to the 71-point game, it would have been Dad that was trying to stay and and Marley trying to leave. So it would have been button heads a little bit there.
Telling all of the buddies at school that he gets to leave early because Dad's taking him to a basketball game was the ultimate intrigue there.
That was it. That's probably what he cared about the most, is being able to just brag to his buds. But outside of the personal stuff, Premier's live now. It's going to be running for another 10 days or so. It ends, next Thursday, and we've got some really great assets in there. We mentioned the Shea or the Shy. There's actually a really rare Magic the Gathering PSA 10 that is signed by the artist Christopher Rush. It's actually the most expensive card currently sitting right now in our Premier auction. As is, it's sitting at $240K with the buyer's premium. Huge card. Only 1,100 of these were produced, and getting it into PSA 10 is very difficult with the black border that it has. I'm not anticipating there being a ton of Magic the Gathering fans on here, but if you know anything about that, it's a huge card. And actually, fun fact, Post Malone is a huge Magic the Gathering fan, and The previous one that we sold was one that he was very interested in, so we'll see if he jumps in on this one. But great auction. Got some beautiful stuff in there. Beautiful 86 Fleer Jordan rookie that has a PWCC-E. Get on there and check it out.
Link to PWCC's website is atop the description. You can search the cards that we've talked about on this podcast, see where some of the cards from Magic Number end, and get in a couple bids with weekly and the premiere ending in a couple of weeks.
Make sure you follow Payne on Twitter at Payne Insider. Subscribe to Bet the Board and get notified when new episodes of CardBoard Chat air on Tuesdays. And be sure to stop by pwccmarketplace.com for all your collecting needs.